Hello everyone, welcome you all. In today's section, we are going to study about reaction of amines. In that, alkylation and acylation of amines and reaction with benzene sulfonyl chloride. In alkylation reaction, in which the reaction between an alkyl halide and amine, the reaction product is higher substituted amine, we can form from primary amine to secondary amine and from secondary amine to tertiary amine. That is, we can join alkyl chain in alkylation reaction. The next reaction is acylation reaction. In acylation reaction, in which aliphatic and aromatic primary and secondary amine reacts with acid chloride, anhydride and ester by nucleophilic substitution reaction. This reaction is known as acylation reaction. Means in acylation reaction, in which replacement of hydrogen atom by the acyl group and the products obtained by the acylation reaction are known as amides. Then next reaction is the Hissberg test, means the reaction with benzene sulfonyl chloride. Benzene sulfonyl chloride, which is also known as Hissberg reagent, and it reacts with primary and secondary amine to form sulfonamide. Let's first see the first reaction is the alkylation reaction. In alkylation reaction of amines is the type of organic reaction between an alkyl halide and the amine. So we take the primary amine and reaction with the haloalkane. In haloalkane, the halogen group is the more electronegative, so it takes its electron and leaves. On this nitrogen, in primary amine, on this nitrogen, there is the presence of lone pair of electron. So it donates the lone pair of electron to this R dash group. We can use any group in place of this R and R dash. This nitrogen donates its lone pair of electron to this R dash, means there is the bond formation in between this nitrogen and this R group. Then the new structure is formed RNH2 and this R dash is combines with this nitrogen and this halogen leaves. Then this nitrogen is the more electronegative, so it takes its electron from this hydrogen, and for supporting this hydrogen, this X minus ion support this hydrogen, and this nitrogen take its electron and vanish the plus charge. This nitrogen donates its electron, so on this nitrogen there is the plus charge. On alkylation, there is the removal of hydrogen and join the alkyl chain and formation of secondary amine. On this nitrogen, there is the presence of lone pair of electron, so it donates the lone pair of electron with this R dash. This R2NH reacts with this haloalkane. This nitrogen donates its electron to this R dash group, means there is the bond formation in between this nitrogen and R dash, and this halogen leaves. Then on this nitrogen there is the plus charge because this nitrogen donates its lone pair of electron. This nitrogen is more electronegative, so it takes its electron from this hydrogen, and for this hydrogen support this X minus ion, and the new structure is formed R3N, and this hydrogen is combines with this X minus ion. Means in alkylation reaction, from primary amines we get the secondary amine, and from secondary amine we get the tertiary amine. Means from this primary amine we can remove one hydrogen and joins the alkyl chain. Then after that, from secondary amine we can remove this hydrogen and addition of alkyl chain. In this way the alkylation of amines occurs. The next reaction is acylation reaction with acid chloride. In acylation reaction, in which the primary and secondary amines reacts with acid chloride, anhydride and ester by nucleophilic substitution reaction. This reaction is known as acylation reaction. Means in acylation reaction, in which replacement of hydrogen atom of NH2 or NH group by the acyl group, the products obtained by the acylation reaction are known as amides. Then let's see here, we take the primary amine and reacts with the acid chloride, CH3 carbon oxygen double bond and Cl. This chlorine is more electronegative. In primary amine, on nitrogen there is the presence of lone pair of electron. So this nitrogen donates its lone pair of electron to this carbon. At that time, this bond will be break in between this carbon and oxygen. When carbon make one bond, at that time it break another bond. This oxygen again make back bonding. At that time, this bond will be break in between this carbon and this chlorine. This chlorine leaves. Then the new structure is formed, means when nitrogen donates its lone pair of electron to this carbon, at that time on nitrogen there is the plus charge and this whole unit is joined with this carbon. Let's see here, this CH3 carbon oxygen double bond and this NH2 and C2H5. On nitrogen there is the plus charge. This nitrogen is more electronegative, so it takes its electron from this hydrogen. Then after that there is the formation of N-ethyl ethane amide, means this hydrogen in the form of H plus and it combines with this Cl, means the removal of HCl. From primary amines, on acylation we get the N-ethyl ethane amide. Let's see here shortly, this hydrogen and this Cl removal of HCl and this whole unit is joined with this CH3 carbon oxygen double bond and formation of amide. Then next reaction is N-ethyl ethane amine reacts with the acid chloride. This nitrogen donates its lone pair of electron to this carbon. At that time, the bond will be break in between this carbon and oxygen. Oxygen make again back bonding. At that time, this chlorine leaves, means this hydrogen combines with this Cl and removal of HCl. This nitrogen is joined with this carbon and formation of NN diethyl ethane amide. Then next reaction with acylation reaction of secondary amines with ethanoic anhydride. Let's see here the structure of ethanoic anhydride and reaction with secondary amine C2H5 twice NH. On nitrogen there is the presence of lone pair of electron. This nitrogen donates the lone pair of electron to this carbon. At that time this bond will be break in between this carbon and oxygen. Oxygen make again back bonding. At that time this bond will be break in between this carbon and oxygen, means this CH3COO acetate ion in free form. Then after that the new structure is formed, means these units joined with this carbon. Let's see here, the CH3 carbon oxygen double bond and this nitrogen make bond with this carbon, and on nitrogen there is the plus charge because it donates the electron pair to this carbon. Then this nitrogen is more electronegative, so it takes its electron from this hydrogen and this hydrogen in the form of H plus. Then after that is hydrogen is combines with this acetate ion and formation of acetic acid, and the new structure is formed NN diethyl ethane amide. Then next reaction is acylation of benzene amine. Let's see here, we take benzene amine and reaction with ethanoic anhydride. Then this nitrogen donates its lone pair of electron to this carbon. At that time this bond will be break in between this carbon and oxygen. When nitrogen donates its electron to this carbon, at that time the bond will be break in between this carbon and oxygen. Oxygen make back bonding and this bond will be break, and this acetate ion combines with this hydrogen and removal of acetic acid and formation of N-phenyl ethane amide. Let's see here, when the acylation reaction with acid chloride, then removal of HCl and formation of amide, but the acylation reaction with anhydride, then removal of acetic acid and formation of amide. Amines also reacts with benzoyl chloride. This reaction is known as benzoylation. Let's see here the reaction when methanamine reacts with benzoyl chloride. On this nitrogen there is the lone pair of electron, so it donates the lone pair of electron to this carbon. At that time there is the bond formation in between this nitrogen and this carbon. Then one hydrogen from this H2 and this Cl, there is the removal of HCl and formation of N-methyl benzene amide. Then next reaction is reaction with benzene sulfonyl chloride. Benzene sulfonyl chloride, which is also known as Hinsberg reagent, and the Hinsberg reagent which is reacts with primary and secondary amine to form sulfonamide. When primary amine reacts with benzene sulfonyl chloride to form precipitate, and after that the precipitate which is dissolved in sodium hydroxide to form soluble salt. Let's see the reaction. We take primary amine reacts with the benzene sulfonyl chloride. On nitrogen there is the presence of lone pair of electron, so it donates the lone pair of electron to the sulfur. At that time this bond will be break in between the sulfur and oxygen. Then oxygen make back bonding. At that time this chlorine is the good leaving group and it is leaves. Means there is the bond formation in between this nitrogen and this sulfur, and on nitrogen there is the plus charge. The new structure is formed, this C2H5NH2, and it combines with this sulfur oxygen double bond and C6H5. On nitrogen there is the plus charge. This nitrogen is more electronegative, so it takes its electron from this hydrogen. After that the new structure is formed. Then again on this nitrogen is more electronegative, so it takes its electron from this hydrogen. Then after that we take the precipitate which is formed and it reacts with the sodium hydroxide. Then we get the soluble salt. Means we take the reaction with sodium hydroxide. This sodium hydroxide, it gives Na plus and OH minus ion. This Na minus, this sodium is combines with this nitrogen, and this OH minus ion, this abstract this proton. Then after that the soluble salt is formed. Means in primary amine reacts with benzene sulfonyl chloride to form N-alkyl benzene sulfonamide. Then next reaction is secondary amine reacts with benzene sulfonyl chloride. In secondary amine, on nitrogen there is the presence of lone pair of electron. On this nitrogen donates the lone pair of electron to this sulfur. At that time this bond will be break. Oxygen make again back bonding. At that time this chlorine leaves. Means the new structure is formed. The bond formed in between this nitrogen and sulfur, and the new structure is formed C2H5 twice and nitrogen hydrogen, and this whole unit is joined with this sulfur. Then on this nitrogen is more electronegative, so it takes its electron from this hydrogen. The precipitate which is formed NN dialkyl benzene sulfonamide, but then after that the new structure is formed and the reaction with the sodium hydroxide, but it does not react with the sodium hydroxide because on this nitrogen there is the no hydrogen. Means the secondary amine reacts with benzene sulfonyl chloride to form NN dialkyl benzene sulfonamide, but the NN dialkyl benzene sulfonamide which is insoluble in sodium hydroxide. Then next reaction is tertiary amine reacts with benzene sulfonyl chloride, but in tertiary amine there is the no replaceable hydrogen, so the tertiary amine do not reacts with the benzene sulfonyl chloride. There is the no reaction. Means when primary amine reacts with benzene sulfonyl chloride to form precipitate, and that is soluble in sodium hydroxide solution. Secondary amine reacts with benzene sulfonyl chloride to give precipitate, and that is insoluble in sodium hydroxide solution. Tertiary amine do not react with benzene sulfonyl chloride. Thank you so much for watching this video.